The JP poll has been released. These are not rankings. Don't even call them rankings. That's what the playoff committee does. That's what the AP does. That's what I do on Thursdays with the commissioners poll, not on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we release the JP poll. The JP poll, born from the model here, is strictly teams listed in order that they would be favored on a neutral field. So even if you're 6-6 and I'm 12-0, if the model would favor you by 3 on a neutral field, you're going to be ahead of me. And then we're going to post the graphic on Twitter, and then people are going to lose their minds, and they're going to ask, how can a 6-6 team be ranked over an undefeated team? And I'm going to say, they're not. No one's ranked anywhere. These are not rankings. Rinse, repeat. That is the life of the JP poll every week. And then someone says, well, if it's this confusing, maybe you shouldn't put it out. And I'm like, your confusion is not my problem. I give a helpful tutorial on this stuff every week. Your inability to listen, not our problem. I'm not changing the name of it either because we really like the name JP poll. So James Madison is still our highest power-rated G5 team. I want to mention that because they're not in the top 20, so you're not going to see them on the graphic. Also, I want you to keep in mind as we show you Utah. They're not 20 to 16. They're rated a little higher than that. But Utah's an interesting case because you saw Utah earlier tonight in the college football playoff rankings, and they were in the top 15. We have them finishing the season playing our number 29, number 30, and 32 teams in the power ratings. So they've got 3 formidable opponents left. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, there are 3 ACC teams in the top 25, and none of them are really in the race for the ACC championship game. Miami's not going to make the ACC championship game. Louisville's probably not going to make the ACC championship game. Virginia's nowhere to be found in the JP poll because there are way more than 20 teams that would be favored against them. Georgia Tech's not in here because there are way more than 20 teams that would be favored against Georgia Tech. Duke's nowhere to be found. There are like 40 teams that would be favored over Duke. So just keep that in mind. All right, here we go. 20 to 16. Clemson is back. Clemson is number 20. This is the first time, because it's been like 3 minutes, where I have to remind you, power ratings, not rankings. Clemson would not be ranked anywhere near my top 20. Vandy is 19. LSU is 18. Still a top 20 power-rated team there. That's just roster talent. That's what it is. Iowa's at 17. Well. I have to admit something to you. I, about 2 or 3 times a year, manually override the model. And I have used 2 of those tokens over the last 2 weeks to remove Penn State from the top 20. Yes, you heard me right. The model had Penn State in the top 20 the whole time. I hit the manual override button because it is my constitutional right to do that. It is, after all, a poll named after me. I didn't feel like listening to the noise. But you should know the model had Penn State like number 18 last week. That's why we made them one of our best bets in Ramen Noodle Express against Indiana. And they almost won the game outright. Now, everyone wants to hate on the front end when we do that. And sure enough, if we put Penn State in the top 20 last week, everyone would have said terrible things about it. But they're never there to circle back when the model gets validated and when the JP poll gets validated. So Penn State's number 16 this week. They have not tapped out on the season yet. You think about their losses. Close loss to Oregon, 1-point loss to Iowa. Now, we don't necessarily want to talk about Northwestern and UCLA. No, we do not. But Penn State's right there at number 16. Interesting times in the neighborhood here. Miami is 15. Miami dropped 2 spots. See, they rose in the playoff rankings. These are not rankings. Miami, the model continues to bail on Miami. We have dropped them. I haven't dropped them at all. Miami in the model has dropped almost 9 points since their peak rating around week 4 or week 5 or something like that. Crazy. Model, very anti-Miami right now. Wait, Jesse, wasn't Miami 15th in the playoff rankings tonight? So we got Miami in the JP poll the same as the playoff committee does. Not that we designed it that way, just interesting. USC is 14. Oklahoma is 13. Texas Tech is 12. Again, power ratings, not rankings. Tennessee is 11. Now, I got to tell you, hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. I would take Texas Tech against Tennessee on a neutral field. So, I differ with the model all the time. I did it in the Georgia-Texas game earlier on this very show. I'm just saying the model would favor Tennessee against Texas Tech neutral field. I would then gladly take the points, and I would slam the model shut. Top 10. Utah is number 10. The model still has Utah as the highest power-rated team in the Big 12, even though Texas Tech dusted Utah in their building. But one game sample sizes, not always enough to convince the model. Texas is number 9 right now. Oregon is number 8. They dropped a point after last week. Oregon, they are down 3 spots this week, dropped a whole point. Wow. I thought it was a good win. The model disagrees. I want you to hear that, Dan Lanning. It's not me. I believe in you. But you know what doesn't believe in you? Math, data, keyboards, numbers. The model sort of thinks Oregon is secret trash right now. Wet trash after last week. Still hadn't dried out. That's sad. I guess you got to change the way the model thinks. Or else maybe the things they've been saying about you are right all along. I don't know. Take it up with the model. Notre Dame's number 7. They are up 2 spots. And Ole Miss is number 6. The top 5 is unchanged. Georgia's 5. Well, Georgia's up to number 5. So after that, it's unchanged. Bama's 4. A&M is still 3. Indiana is still 2. Ohio State is still 1. Some quick notes here. There is a 0.2 point gap between A&M and Indiana. So they're the same team right now, basically. Indiana was very close to dropping to 3. A&M very close to rising to number 2. It's irrelevant because there is a 5-point gap between them and Ohio State. That is the widest gap that we've had this year between number 1 and the rest of the field. There is a 3-point gap between Texas A&M at 3 and Texas at number 9. 3 points. While there is 5 points between number 1 and number 2. For those that are interested, the SEC championship game, according to the model right now, would be A&M favored by a point against Alabama. We just asked FanDuel last week, and they said Bama -1 against A&M. Don't know if that changed or not. So the model would slightly lean A&M in that game. These are very interesting times. Miami just continues to drop. Penn State is rising. I want you to think about how insane this is. Miami is 1 spot ahead of Penn State. And I know no one believes that. I know no one believes it, but you got to understand, the model has nailed Penn State. It has Penn State pegged. So I don't know that I would be so quick to argue with that. I'd be careful. Be very careful.